Hello, my name's Hank Sutala, and this is.
I'm Sean Phillips.
Yeah, and we're really goofy and we make funny jokes, and we're here doing the Power of Possibilities with the people that are behind the camera that will remain faceless. But anyway, we are going to be doing this new thing where we're going to make this video stream available to you. But if you want to interact with us, you can come here on the second Tuesday of every month. It's just $5, and then you can ask questions, interact with us, and what we do basically is we will pull from all kinds of different modalities for whatever's going on in your life and offer you tools, tips, tricks, and things that could expand your consciousness and possibilities.
Yeah.
And Sean's going to talk and stall for a moment while I send somebody a link.
Yeah. We're really looking to engage with the folks in the room and talk about, if there's a modality you're talking about, or I heard about this thing, or this thing's going on. It's like, come talk. Like, let's see what's possible. Let's have some conscious conversation with our possibilities. Like, when was the last time you just had a nice circle to say, I would like to talk about consciousness and changing my world, please? Like, if you've had that conversation at your local, wherever, gets, because I'd like to be there. So instead of not knowing where to go, we said, let's bring it to the people. Because we like to have that conversation.
Okay. You don't have to stall this.
Thanks, Hank.
I almost got it here. All right, I just sent it to Mike. We got one person for sure joining us online. So you guys who are looking at this on my Facebook page, you will be able to see this archived on our YouTube channel as well, but we will go ahead and start with what we're going to be doing. But just to give a little bit of background for our people here, our person here, we're not confirming or denying that. But
there may or may not be people in the room besides us.
Yeah, but if you hear a voice, it might be the voice of God. But anyway, and God is a woman, just so you know.
God is a girl.
So my name's Hank, as I already mentioned, and my training primarily, for those of you who are just getting to know me, I trained at Lilydale Fellowships of the Spirit with traditional mediumship because as an infant, or as I growing up, I was just wide open. And, yeah, so as soon as I could legally drink, I became a professional drinker. And then as soon as I got sober, I started getting tools to kind of put everything into context. And I found the training at fellowships. And then later on, I just took everything I could. Because as you'll find out, there's like two types of people. There's like humans and humanoids. And humanoids love doing as many different things as possible. They never
stop.
They never
Can't
can
be
stop.
satisfied.
You're all like you do the same thing for more than 5 minutes, you're bored.
Yeah.
And that was me. So I learned as many different healing modalities as I could, from crystal healing, medical intuition, Reiki, of course mediumship, and then later on I found aromatherapy, sound healing, and shamanism, and then access consciousness, which I find it for me. I have the ancient tools of shamanism which is like one of the oldest traditions on the planet, the Paco tradition of the Q'ero Indians of Peru, combined with access consciousness, which is one of the most modern dynamic healing modalities offered, and they're growing exponentially now.
Yeah.
And I can see the ancient
yeah.
tools and the modern day twist on it, and it's really the same information that's being represented in different ways, and different people receive it in different ways. And that's what tonight is about what can we offer from the different places that we have backgrounds in, that might be able to take the nugget of information that you need and present it in the way that you're most ready to receive it.
Yeah, and how can we create a space to talk about that stuff? Because you don't get that opportunity all the time, especially parents. You ever have that conversation with your parents, Hank?
Conversation with my parents. Well,
I'd like to expand my universe, Mom. How can I do that? It's like, go to college.
Funny story though. I have two sons. My son Max and Oliver, and when they were Max is 9 years old now. Is he 9? Oh my gosh!
He's maybe 10.
So no,
he's
not
at least
10
9.
yet. He's not 10 yet. But I was starting to teach him all the Quechua words for like Pachamama, Mother Earth, and we were doing ceremony. And one day he's like, Dad, you can teach me all about the shaman stuff a little later. Right now, just let me be a kid. He had the awareness that, yeah, this is something important, but I'm going to have fun now. And that's cool. And he had that awareness. And children are very aware like that. Like this morning, he had this whole outfit, like, because want to do what you tell them, they have to do the opposite because that's what they do. And he waited too long to eat, and his brother took the last little bit of cereal, and then he doesn't want to eat anything, and then nothing that I suggested anyway. Then he finally, when I say fine, don't eat, now I want to eat. And so he just goes back and forth. And then at the end, after he finally was eating, I'm like, you realize that you did this? And I just showed him everything. I'm like, you may want to ask yourself, why is it that you were choosing that instead of just picking something else? It's very interesting the way that that
Yeah.
humanoids and kids work like that.
So that's about you.
That is about me. What about
Yeah.
you?
So I'm Sean. I think we talked about that when we started.
Okay, so that's it.
No, a little more. So I got involved with energy, space, consciousness type stuff. I actually kind of opposite of Hank. I started with access consciousness. It's the first modality that called out to me to go and like learn how to do it. Before that, IT guy, turned consciousness talker on the side. Consciousness maybe person that does IT. I don't know, one of those two. Got started with that. Learned how to trade. Trade. Well, I can trade, and then I can also teach what's called access bars,
Mhm.
part of access consciousness. That's kind of started my journey. And kind of like Hank, though, I always, as a kid, it always seemed like there was something more, something different that was available. And, a lot of times in this reality, that just, it's not normal. Like, when you're like, man, I know magic is possible. Like, like, how do I do it? Like, where is it? And then got involved with access, and it's like, yes, this is possible. So that's kind of about me, and just I've really just been on that roll for a while, and I'm excited to pull some other people that are interested in going on that great possible journey and open to talking and creating more. And I'm glad I can do it with Hank and Paco and everybody here.
Right. And the point of this, though, is for the people that show up especially, is there anything going on in your world about anything at all that you would like us to speak to from our backgrounds, and or to give you any tools of anything? Like already, if I had to guess, you might be a little bit of an empath. Meaning, do you pick up on other people's stuff, emotions and things like that? So,
Is it hers?
well, that's the number one tool to ask for empaths. Little segue. So, like, everybody is empathic to some degree, and Ryan Dean, who's one of the partners here at HHH, he has a whole
There's a whole
thing,
series.
empathic empowerment training,
Yeah.
but he shows it like a bell curve, and like the narcissist on this side and like the wide open empath is on this side, and most people fall in the middle range, but people who are more,
You got to be in that 70 percentile, right on the distribution curve.
but the idea is that
But the
empaths,
empaths are over here.
it's really a huge gift, but we're taught that, if it's overwhelming, you got to
need to
shield
be
yourself.
in the standard distribution.
And one of the universal laws is what you resist persists. And whatever you're fighting against, the universe only knows energy, and it doesn't see that you're saying, I want to choose something else. All it knows is I'm giving all my attention to all the stuff I'm trying to hold at bay. And then the universe says, okay, I'll give you more. And so one of the first questions to ask as that stuff is coming in, one of the phrases that I hear a lot is, if you name it, you claim it. And there's a difference between sensing and feeling. And with an empath, if they can sense what's going on, and they don't have to label it and judge it as the thing that you called anger, or the thing they call, wow, that's just a really weird, when we enter into the judgment of it, the empath owns it. And so one of the tools of an empath is to become the hollow bone, and you're just aware of the energy and allow it to move through you, not from you, not to you. And in that space, you have the awareness of what's going on without the labeling and judgment of what's making it stick to you, if that makes sense. And then beyond that, from Access, they have a question you can speak to, who does it belong to?
Yeah. So access, all that, stuff going on. So anytime you have a thought, feeling, emotion, or idea that just comes to you, very simple. All you have to do is ask, is this mine? And you'll either get a sense of like, meh, that means it's not yours. Doesn't belong to you. You don't need it. Just say, thank you very much, that's not mine. I'm going to go about my day. But occasionally, and this is like, maybe 10% or less of the time, you get that it's actually yours. So I think they even say 98% of the time it's not
Yeah.
yours.
It's usually someone else's, or sometimes we pick up that the earth needs facilitation.
Right.
And with that said, then you just ask, well, what energy could I offer the earth that would help?
Yeah.
And believe it or not, from the world of shamanism, one of the things that Mother Earth loves is called hucha, which means heaviness. And all the heaviness around, like I like to say that all the things from our past, they're these things that we have all this energy around, right? And that energy is the heaviness, the hucha, but we have this pearl of wisdom that is actually of benefit, and we can use it to help our fellow travelers, if you will. And so you can take all that heaviness and just offer to her as a gift, because for her it's like chocolate, it's like fertilizer, and she's gonna use it to cultivate blessings for
the
you.
earth doesn't judge the heaviness like you do. The earth just goes, energy, thank you so much for sending it to me. And then you're like, great, now I feel good because all that stuff I thought was heavy, it's like I don't have to deal with anymore.
Right.
Thank you so much, Earth.
One of the other things you could do is just say, when you're aware
And
of
it loves
something,
it.
return to sender with consciousness. You're not turning it back with a zing saying, screw you for sending this to me. It's just like, we're with consciousness, just awareness that that's what they're putting out into the world. And then when you start doing that, and if you identify it, it just becomes second nature if you're doing it enough, that you're not going to be taking on the things that aren't yours. And there's actually an app, Dr. Dane Here, which is one of my favorite authors. There's a book called Being You, Changing the World by Dr. Dane
Change the
Here.
world!
It is fantastic. Highly recommend it. But he
Very
has
good book.
there's an app you can download called Who Does It Belong To? And every 30 seconds, or however often you set it, I think 30 seconds would be a little too frequent, but throughout the day your phone just goes bing, just gives us a little reminder, and in that moment you say, who does this belong to? And they say if you just do that for 3 days, you anchor that skill set so much that if you are feeling overwhelmed by emotions because you're an empath and you've started to identify all the times that it's not yours, it just becomes a little bit more bearable to be in your own skin and in your own awareness, because it really is an amazing capacity and a potency to be an empath.
But nobody teaches you how to do it.
Yeah.
You just think there's all this stuff coming and I have to take it on because what else would I do? And all of a sudden you get stuck with all this stuff that has nothing to do with you. Then you get to be more you, and it's like, what else is possible?
So that being said, any questions come to
Yeah.
mind from that first point? No?
It's
Nah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Is it
Let's-
yours? Is it
Is
mine?
it yours? Who does it belong to? And let's see, what
Yeah.
else was with that?
Who does it belong to? Yeah.
Ooh,
We have a lot of tools.
no, well, this is something that's coming to me to share. So there's this little saying, I love it. It's called just for me, just for fun, never tell
Oh,
anyone.
I like that one.
It is really great. So
Just for me, just for fun. Don't tell
never
anyone.
tell anyone. And the reason that this is such a, like, before you share anything with anyone about something, especially about things that you're really looking to actualize in your life, you ask the question, will me telling this person be a contribution to that possibility? And if you get a heaviness, don't say anything. And one of my dear friends, we'll call him Ed. Right, so we'll just say his name is Ed, because I don't want to, if he's watching, I don't want me calling him out. But he decided to get into this option trading, right? And he has like, he starts with an account with $500, and he turns $500 into like 30,000 in just a couple weeks. It's unbelievable, right? So then he gets all excited, and he goes to his family, look what I'm doing, this is so amazing. And they say, oh, well, here's some money, do that for us too. Right? And so he gets their money and he opens accounts for them and he starts doing the same thing and he loses everybody's money, right? But now everybody in the family, their point of view is he's the black sheep of the family. Nothing ever happens correctly with that, right? Everything always goes to shit. And so he started to fit the role and the projection and the expectation once he told them. Now, had he not told them anything, and he
He'd
didn't,
probably be a billionaire.
right? So, because as soon as he said it, now he's aligning and agreeing with or resisting or reacting to all their points of view about him being the black sheep of the family, nothing ever going right. And now all of a sudden, everything got out manifested out from underneath him because he gave more weight to their judgment than his own knowing. So just for me, just for fun is about, you have your own knowing and you have your possibility that you know this, it could be this big, but now you tell somebody, I'm like, well, you can't do that. That's a lot of work. Are you sure?
Yeah, that's impossible.
And just think about a kid, like how often you say, well, you don't want to set your dreams too high because you don't want to be disappointed. So we already started getting ingrained at a very young age, go for the low bar, because that way you won't be disappointed if you know you don't make the high bar. And we call those things glass ceilings of limitations. So when there's like a root somewhere in your past that, where a really good example is money one. Money is the root of all evil.
Yeah.
Rich people are, they're rich, but they're not really happy. So like that was one for me personally. I got the idea, oh, rich people aren't happy. So even though I'm looking to actualize abundance in my life, the real core of me believes, well, if I had money, I wouldn't be happy. Plus, all rich people are jerks, and you don't want to
Yeah.
be miserable.
Don't want to
and
be like them.
You're snobby. And,
Yeah.
You know, so you have all the points of view of what rich means, and now all of a sudden, even though you're consciously looking to create abundance in your life, your core belief says you don't want money, you won't be happy, and it creates a glass ceiling. No matter how hard you're actively trying to actualize out of it, you just hit this glass ceiling.
Yeah.
And so
You're
the,
touching on right what my life is going through.
it's funny how that happens,
Oh
isn't
my
it?
God, the stock trading and then this other big thing. It's like everything is connecting like perfect. So what I need to hear.
Well, there you go.
It's crazy.
It's almost like
I'm
we're
in awe
intuitive or
right now
something.
of this. What'd you say?
It's funny how that, it's almost like we're
It's
intuitive
like
or something.
You were sent to me, I was sent to you or something for this reason.
Well, we're
I
glad
love
you
it.
found us.
Love it.
Yeah. Thanks for being here.
And tell all your friends about
Yeah.
us.
Yeah,
And
and,
how- and how
every
crazy
every
we are.
second Tuesday of the month at Holistic Health and Healing.
Right. And if you want to interact, you tune in. You have to come here, at least for now. Eventually online, we will have like a Zoom element, but this is our first month doing it for you guys watching us live. So we're going to be refining it, and
I
eventually.
mean, technically, it's
we'll-
delayed stream, but
What's that?
are we on delayed stream?
Are we what?
Are we on delayed stream?
No, it's live.
Oh,
on
we're
my,
live.
It's live on my
Oh,
Facebook
Hank
page.
is correct. I guess we're live.
Yeah, and there's people. I can actually see people watching us. So there's.
Oh, hi Facebook.
Hello, our first official stalkers.
Welcome.
So,
Are we filling questions from Facebook today, or are we just?
well, we can. If you have a question, unless you have questions, like this is not something we'll do normally, but we can do it since like we
Yeah.
don't have
Yeah.
a ton of people. So if you have a question, if you're watching the stream and you have a question now, I invite you. Oh, look at me on that face. Isn't that awesome?
Wow.
Wow.
We should like use that as our cover page.
No, we don't. We don't. Like, wow, the freeze frame of this video is just like, wow. It is.
Wow. Well, while we're doing
That's like
this-
what they do if you're like a politician,
Yeah.
and the people that are running against you, they find this picture and they put that picture of you up.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll throw in a plug as Hank's pulling that up. You know, all the artwork is done by one of our local
we got 10
practitioners,
comments.
Mary Ford, and it is all, I think, mostly available if you'd like to purchase.
So how do you turn it around? Connie Field, I see that you wrote, how do you turn it around? It was a bit out of context, so I'm not sure what you are, what you're referring to. If
Yeah.
you want to ask a question in a little bit more context, that would
Yeah,
be great.
and Hank's got the laptop, so
So I
we
got the
can actually
laptop
field
now.
those
We are
now.
connected to the world. So, and thank you everybody for watching our
Yes,
debut
thank you for showing up.
performance. Sean, me, and Paco.
And Paco, yeah.
Yeah, our little mascot guy.
Yeah.
So, and hi Deanna, hi Steve, hi Roberto.
Hello,
Very
everybody.
cool. Any question come to mind? I know we were hitting on a lot of points, and we can continue to go down that route if there's more information that might be of service to you.
Not at this moment. yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Sean, anything coming to mind that you would like to share? We just did just for me, just for fun, never tell anyone, which is always fun.
I mean, that's a fun one. That's really
Great.
fun.
Well, what else is fun?
I mean, we could talk about possibilities. It is the power of possibilities.
Right. Well, and that's the greatest thing for possibilities, and this is access tools.
Well, why don't we just jump right into it? What else is possible?
That's exactly where I
I
was
mean,
going.
as we're not sure what's going on, what else is possible? Great tool. And we actually use it.
Right. So, the question is the main thing, like whether it's what else is possible or how does it get any better than this.
Question.
The only
Yeah.
question that you typically don't ask is why, because why is a looping question that you ask the universe, why is this happening, and the universe creates for you the exact same circumstances as to why it's happening, and you don't actually get any clarity. So the question you can ask is like, what's right about this I'm not getting? What else is possible here? How does it get any better than this? That's especially like one that can create this upward spiral, whether you just stubbed your toe or you just won the lottery. You ask the universe, how does it
Yeah.
get any better than this? And the universe shows you.
Yeah.
And so it's a way to create this upward
Yeah.
spiral. If you feel stuck, we had a great, for those of you who are familiar with the area, right next door to us is Goddess Elite. And she came back from the gem show last year and had like this huge Ganesh statue, like over 600 pounds at the packing. And this guy wanted to like park way off in the parking lot and unload it and have us like wheel it in. And Ryan's like, no, what else is possible? And he's like getting the guy to back up, and the guy's like, I can't back up any farther. I'm going to bottom out on the roof. And Ryan's like, you'll be fine. What else is possible? And we ended up getting the guy actually unloading it down into the thing. We didn't hardly had to move it at all from what else is possible. And you'll find that if you ask like a yes or no question, like we were just in Florida not too long ago, and we were at SeaWorld, and I had to go. We were missing something for our Fast Pass things that we had bought, and I waited in this long line. I get up and say, "Hey, we didn't get wristbands. We bought them online." She's like, "Oh, well, if you bought them online, you don't get them. You just have to show it on your phone every time." I'm like, "Well, no. Is there anything you can do?" She's like, "No." And then I'm like, "What else is possible?" Now I ask this open-ended question. So like, is there anything you can do, yes or no? That's very easy for someone to say yes or no to. But you ask what else is possible, it engages the brain completely differently. And she thought about it. She's like, well, I could do this. And she printed me these little barcode slips of paper that we could take and just scan them. So we didn't have to like have it on the phone because my phone was going to die like throughout the day there.
And what does that tell you? The people at Universal are liars.
Well, that was
and they
SeaWorld.
can do something.
Oh, yeah.
At SeaWorld.
At SeaWorld.
They're liars and they can do something.
Possible. But you just ask what
No,
else
don't
is
take that
possible.
as a takeaway.
But
What else is possible?
But we get
Yeah.
we get a lot of. That's just a great question to ask. So now Connie did ask. Well, Mike wants money cleaning. Money cleaning. Mike wants to be a money launderer. Right. No, we'll talk about that offline. But Connie.
All right.
Connie
Yeah.
says, when you are asking for abundance and undermine yourself with your old beliefs. So how do you undo it? There's a tool in Access now. Since this is being on social media, we can't do the whole clearing that we would normally do.
You could send them to theclearingstatement.com.
Yeah, you can go to theclearingstatement.com, and there's this wonderful tool where you basically ask a question. When you could ask something to the effect of, every place that I'm getting stuck with money, am I willing to change it? Am I willing to destroy it and create it? And just a willingness to have that energy come up and change is really all you need. But if you go to theclearingstatement.com, Dr. Dane here will give you the tool to actually use the clearing statement. Are we able to give the small version?
Yeah, contractually or by, what do they call that? Royalty licensing?
I don't
We're not
know.
really supposed to say it on live stream, so
Okay, so we won't say it.
we're not going to give the whole thing.
So
but
just say destroy and uncreate,
Yeah.
or just I'm willing to change it, and then just be open to whatever energy comes in to change
Yeah.
that. Now I can give you a tool from shamanism that can change it.
that would be
Let's
good.
see. So basically, this is called the Wilka Saiwa, which means sacred milk. So it's basically like this connection with the earth that you have. I also like calling this empath dialysis. And you basically open up to the earth, both feet on the ground, and you say, okay, what flavor energy does my body need? Think about it like Baskin Robbins, right? There's like a million flavors of ice cream. They're making up new ones all the time. And so for whatever problem you have, you just ask, what flavor energy, what flavor of Baskin Robbins do I need today from the earth to change this? And you just allow the energy to come in 1 foot, allow it to swirl through your whole body, being and beyond, because we're way more than a body, we're way more than a being. Like we are existing in multi-dimensions, multi-lifetimes, multi-everything. And you allow it to just be an allowance of going everywhere that you exist, even if you don't know that you exist there. It's just the awareness and the allowance of it happening. And then it takes everything that is around the energy that you asked about. It swirls through your everything, and then you let it go out the other leg. So you're creating this loop of energy that's going through the totality of you, taking anything that doesn't serve you and effortlessly putting it out into the out the other foot. We'll pause for a second. We got stragglers in the back. Thank you for coming. It makes people think we had more people here because we're talking to you.
I wish I would have brought a notebook.
Oh,
'Cause this
well,
is so important.
there might be a notebook. I'm not
Do we have
sure.
a notebook? I don't know. Ryan, do we have a notebook? Or
Ryan's on
Or
it.
just I can chat.
Well, you know what the
notes
good news is that it's going to be recorded.
Oh yeah, you can go back and just watch it. Yeah, it's live right now. And
We'll see if we can find you a notepad, though.
money clearing.
Money clearing?
Yeah, well, Mike wanted us to do the money clearing from the global weekend, but we can't really do the clearings on
Yeah, we
live
can't,
streams.
can't really live do those, yeah.
But essentially, the question that you could ask is, what would it take for me to have more money and more abundance than the entire universe, right? And what energy could I be an allowance of that would create that? And do the same
Yeah.
thing, whether you're pulling energy from the earth or from the center of the universe or wherever, you're just allowing the energy to flow. You are always, go to a shamanism term, you are
Yeah.
but the hollow bone. All the energy is always moving through you, never from you, never to you.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is request of the universe, what energy do I need for this? Or be an allowance of. It's not even a question of need, because there's an infinite being, there's nothing that you
Well,
need.
And, yeah, well, all good stuff, yeah. Hollow bone and let it flow through you in the universe. Yeah, flowing through you, not
Not from you, not to you. You're in a constant
Yeah.
flow of energy. And the only question is, what energy do I need to be an allowance of? Because in the ever-present moment of now, there's nothing that isn't there already.
Yeah.
It's just your willingness to perceive it, know
Yeah.
it, be it, and receive it.
And I'd say when it comes to changing your root beliefs, if you keep coming back to your root beliefs getting in the way of what you'd like to change, a good question and a way to approach it is to really engage with that part of your life and look at it and say, do I really desire to change this right now? Because how often do we say, oh, I'd love to have $1 million or $10 million, and it's like, but then are we really ready to be that and make that change and do the things you have to do to make
Yeah.
the change? And if you're truly not, if you kind of get that and you're really not ready to give it up, that's okay. Just recognize that that's not where you are right now, and maybe what else is possible that you are willing and ready to change, so you can start to make the strides that work for you rather than going back to the stuff that, well, I keep asking for this and it doesn't work. It's like, well, are you actually ready to do the things to do to change it? And sometimes we're just not.
Well, that, and sometimes people just want to stop suffering, but they're really not interested in changing what's the cause of the suffering.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
like people like identify with their disease. I've had people with like lupus, and they don't really, well, different examples of that, but there was a different place I wanted to go with that. Where did I just
We're
have that
addicted to our
Yeah.
diseases
Well, that
or limitations.
Well, that's a whole thing on secondary gains that we could talk about. But there was something else that I just had. What were we just talking about? My brain just went. Phew.
I think you were talking about engaging with and being willing to change.
Oh, willing to change.
Yeah.
So
and ready.
yeah, when I don't focus on readings as much as I used to. I would do more of the healing work. But
Like psychic readings.
9 out of 10 psychic readings, they come to you and they say, "Do you see a new job for me?" And you tune in and you see, "Have you done a resume?" No. Have you even looked? No. I'm like, well, honey, the universe would love to deliver something to you, but you're not doing anything. And like actions speak louder than words. So if you want, if you're looking to choose something, like start choosing. Like don't put out.
Yeah.
Actually, the want thing is the perfect thing. So there's 5 words in Access that they say
Maybe we'll stick to
to
want.
avoid. Want.
Let's just
stick
do
to-
want.
Just do want. Okay.
We'll
he's,
just do
He's
want.
reeling me back here. So, but if somebody asks me what the other 4 are, then I have.
You
a
know, we've
reason
got to
go
have
into
a
it.
show next month. You know, we can't cover everything.
Yeah.
Can't give away all our secrets.
There's plenty of secrets. There's infinite. We're an infinite being. There's an infinite amount of secrets. But the word "want" literally means to lack. So in 1940 something, they changed the
Yeah.
dictionaries, and we use the word "want" interchangeably with the word "desire." But the energy behind it is want. So just if we're fun, say
Want
out loud.
means to lack.
To
so
lack, right.
when you're saying I want more money, you're saying I lack more money. And is that really what you'd like to ask for?
Right, and the universe understands energy. So if you say I want money, and that means I lack money energetically, the universe says, okay, here you go, you lack money. And ironically, if you say I don't want money, I don't want money, I
Yeah.
don't want money, it actually feels lighter and creates more
Yeah.
possibility because you're saying I don't lack money.
Yeah. And if you don't quite get that energetically piece, like, you know, try it out. You know, you don't necessarily have to get the words we're saying, but like, you know, give it a shot. Like,
Should you
know.
say, I have a lot of money?
No,
I have enough?
no, that's a trap. Yeah, well,
I have enough money to get by.
So here's the thing: when you're suffering and there's something going on, and guys, I see that there's comments, and I don't know how to access all the comments. So maybe I need my tech guy. Hi, tech guy. How are you? There's 15 comments, and I can't figure out how to read them. Can you see if you can get them and then get some more questions? Thank you. Thank you, tech guy.
Well, I think this might be good as we're in the middle of talking about that. To talk about you know any of the tools we give, like the best thing to do is to try them out and see if they work for you, right? Like
Oh, now he's video, so we might.
you're
get
probably
feedback.
hearing like a triple echo. There's probably some sort of terrible.
No, but when people are suffering, like if you're foot's hurting, or if you're depressed or anything, like you actively try. Oh, look at that! There they are. Thank you, tech guy.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Woo! All right.
If you can't tell,
We'll
this is all
pay you
about
this
fun.
week.
Consciousness is all about fun and not giving yourself a hard time if things aren't perfect, because
Yeah.
he did. Yep, he came and he's been gone. He almost stayed, I think, but then he didn't.
He looked like he might have. Maybe we should have started recording sooner.
I just answered him on text, so he obviously already got it.
Yep, cool. So anyway, the idea is like if you're suffering or if something's not going well, you're actively looking to change it. And so like people are very quick to look to change things that are uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But when you settle for something, like if something is good enough, then you cut yourself off from possibility because you're not asking the universe. That's where that one tool we already talked about, how
Yeah.
does it get any better than this?
Yeah, that's definitely a good place.
How
to
does it
use
get any better than this? How does it get any better than this?
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you think is good, ask for more. And the universe
Yeah.
will say, here you go with more, you know?
Because you might not know, but the universe is full of
universe
infinite
knows.
possibilities.
Let's see, we're going back, money clearing, we already talked about that. Okay, well, I see all the questions, there's not really any other more recent question, but at least we have them now, so that's cool. So, yay, how's it get any better than that? Now we have like the tech thing working.
Yeah.
Cool, so if you are watching the live stream, which I still see that there are some, if you have any particular questions, please type them in and we will
Send
be.
them to us.
Oh, Bonnie says, this is great, thank you, you're welcome, Bonnie. You should be here in person, it would be way more
Yeah.
fun for you. I'm just saying. Okay.
I mean, we get it. You probably live like 20 minutes away and it's too far, and you wouldn't want to come have fun with us.
Right,
live.
and you wouldn't want to come and get judged by your husband or anything. Just kidding.
Parking pod.
But speaking of judgment, like that, well, and this has been like a big theme for me, like Spirit has been beating me over the head. Allowance and acceptance, right? And allowance is when the rock is in the stream and the water is just flowing around it. The rock is just being a rock. But if you line and agree with anything that's being presented to you, you get washed downstream. And if you resist and react to it, you're fighting really hard to stay in your space, and eventually you get whittled down and you get washed downstream. But allowance is the ability to be in perception of all the energy around you without the need to judge it. You're just in a place of interesting point of view, which is another access tool, but you're not judging it anymore. So you just have the freedom to be you, because you're not caring anymore about what other people are judging you about or not. And the other thing is, she says you are correct. And the other thing with that is that it's judgments for good things and bad things. So like if someone says, oh, your hair is terrible today, and you're like, no, it's not, you're resisting and reacting.
Mhm.
Your hair is beautiful. Oh, yes, it is. Either
Yeah,
one,
your
you're
hair looks
accepting.
really good today.
I know, look at this.
Nailed it.
He likes it because he can see his reflection. But but the reality is, like, those good judgments stick you more because you're getting locked into the polarity of duality because of
Yeah.
the judgment. And because it's a good judgment, we label that as right, which is also a judgment, because now you got two judgments. So really, like, to enter into the space of allowance is to be in a place of just letting everything be without.
I think it's called interesting point of view.
Well, yeah, but I was trying to avoid the access term. Yeah, but yeah, there we go. It is interesting point of view. That is the tool. And if someone's really sticking you with a judgment, the tool would be, it's an interesting point of view that you have that point of view. And it helps, it's a tool to start taking the charge off of when people are judging you and
Actually, I got another
all that.
version to just do interesting point of view.
What's that?
Just interesting point of view.
There you go.
Don't even have to do the
It's just important.
that I have this point of view, that you have this point of view.
Right.
Just interesting point of view.
And sometimes you just want to do that in your head because, like, I found out with my wife, if I say interesting point of view, all
Yeah.
So it's
then
like,
they think
ah.
you're kind of a
And
kind
if
of
she's
an
watching
a-hole,
now she's probably getting
or
even more
B.
mad.
You know, it's like that's not really. You can just say it in your head. It works.
Oh, but occasionally, like if you're around people, and for me, sometimes the more neutral I'm feeling with something, it's like the other person perceives even greater sarcasm. So it's like just to start being in the question of what energy could I be for the person to receive whatever they can receive, and just leave it at that. Cool. Let's see, what else? No more other questions yet. Anywhere you'd like to go with this conversation? Brave soul who came for our
Yeah,
debut.
our brave soul. Well, we're not going to say how many people are here. Brave souls.
Yeah, we have more people online than we do here, but that's okay, because we're going to be this is why we're doing it.
Yes.
So, but anything come to mind that we can?
Well, my three biggest things is my foot healing, because I need that to heal fast.
Okay.
But The other thing is trying to release my home for sale, you know, I have this.
Ooh.
really-
Oh, we love these.
Well, depending where you
Well-
want to go with it.
Well, I'm not sure I was gonna go.
Well, you can go first. I have shaman tools for both.
Oh, you have shaman tools?
Yeah, but you can
Oh,
do other
okay.
tools first.
Well, for the home, one of the things that works pretty cool is have you ask your home who would like to come and buy it next. So ask your home who would like to come and own the house, and start asking your house to start helping
Uh-huh.
sell and bringing in the buyer that'll treat it well, you know, or however. I mean, I guess if the house wants to be treated like crap, but
No,
you
what-
know, but just ask the house, you know, who it would like, and start engaging with the house to help
Right.
bring in bring in the buyer, so you can move to your next part of your life, right?
Yeah. And actually, that's where I was going from the shamanic perspective. We believe that every spirit of the land. So, like holistic health and healing of business, it has a Pachamama spirit to it. There's
Well,
a,
who's a business and a house together?
oh, so well, recognize that they can be two separate entities then. And what if the entities are identifying that they is moving with
Business is
staying? Okay.
Okay.
But
Part of-
the entity of the business and the entity of the home could be two separate things. So like, I'll talk to both of them,
Yeah.
or
ask
be an
both.
allowance of both of them.
Yeah.
Hey, guys,
Mm,
you go out and find the perfect person that would love to have a house and this business.
yes.
That's
Yeah.
the cool
Or
question to
I
ask.
mean, when you start getting into that, not knowing quite what your situation is, you know, what are the other possibilities, right? Do the business and house always have to come together? Have they thought about separating? Is there a different possibility, right? I'm not saying that's light or it's not. You know, that's for you to
Yeah.
engage with and play with.
Yeah.
You know, what else is possible with it, right?
Yeah.
In that situation.
Right. And then from the shamanic perspective, the other thing that you could do, there's a ceremony called a despacho. And basically, we could talk a little bit more offline. I
Yeah.
could give you some tools
Yeah.
with it. But it's a very specific process where you do an honoring of the land of the home that you're in to like
Okay.
say thank you so much, because maybe the land, it really likes you. It doesn't want you to go away,
That's what it is.
right? And so like you give it this honoring and you let it know, hey, there's other cool people like me.
Yeah.
Someone cool is
Aw.
going to come in, and like if you do things like that. Oh, and someone else kind of just offered that you could buy a small statue of St. Joseph, which they sell next door, and you bury it, I believe, upside down on the property. That's more of a magical working, but you could definitely do that too. Same kind of
What
offering.
else is
You're giving an
possible?
offering to do it. Let's see. Old wives' tale. Well, it's not an old wives' tale. There's a collective consciousness around it, so there is like potency. Because a lot of magical workings, if you want to take a moment to look at like Wicca or Hoodoo, like a lot of that is, it is the physical representation of your intention. So you're doing an action, but the more important part is just to be an allowance of receiving the result.
Right, right.
Doesn't matter what the action is.
Yeah.
You could just ask the universe. You don't even have to do any of the ceremony, but sometimes the brain gets funky and it likes to have a show to know that something's going on, and then it can be open to receiving the miracle.
Right.
And for the foot, you took a body class, so you might have more to say about.
I did take a body class. I was gonna maybe let you go where you go
Okay.
to start.
Sure. So, to flow. And then there's these other little guys called Mookies from shamanism.
Mookies and Pachamamas and
Mookies and-
Despacho.
No, just Mookies for this.
Just
So
Mookies.
the way you activate Mookies is you do a little tapping on the stomach.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
One.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'll say Iari Muki Kuna Ompui 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 Haya Muki Kuna Ompui 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 Iari Muki Kuna. And then it is like a green. If you ever saw the Reiki symbol, which I won't say because it's supposed to be secret, for the power symbol, it's that symbol, but it's drawn. You visualize it as green and it's 3-dimensional.
Mm.
And this was from Peru, so it's like very similar to something that they found in Japan. Isn't that weird? But anyway, that these little Mookies are little nature spirits that live in the body, and you activate them, and you don't even have to go through that. That's the ritual. You could just say, hey, little guys in there, do what you do to heal my foot.
Sure.
And that it can be that simple. You're just creating something that's going to put you into allowance of allowing yourself to receive.
Yeah.
Or you could ask the question, what am I not in allowance of that's resulting in my
Yeah.
foot being not quite right? And what could I change and be different that will allow
Yeah.
my foot to heal instantly with ease?
Yeah. And of course, I mean, we know certain practitioners, I mean, Hank and I both know quite a few people, you may need an actual energy process or something else physically done, besides the Mookies.
Yeah.
And Mookies might do it all. What
Yeah.
else is possible?
Well, and is the foot been an ongoing issue, or is it something that just
I got
happened?
the massage, and I think that the damage was done at the massage.
Okay.
And then I went to the doctor, got the boot, and I wore the boot one day, and then it went for 2 weeks with no pain at all, like it was.
Okay.
Then I went back for another massage, and she reactivated the pain again. And now it's
Interesting.
So-
weird. And she pushed so hard, and now it's hurting again. Like it
Well,
was.
just
2
practical
weeks.
bit of advice, maybe see a different massage person.
No judgment, though.
I love this place, but I would say don't go near.
Yeah, stay away from my feet.
And then my third thing was the sugar, releasing the addiction to sugar. That is a big one for me.
Oh, the addiction to sugar.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be life changing.
So, yeah. What do you love about sugar?
It's like, it's a craving. I can't, like, I can go so long and then
Well,
I'm like obsessive thinking about like anything, carbs, donuts, sugar, anything.
anything that turns to sugar, which is like almost everything at some point, right?
It's tucked in all.
Pretty much
of-
everything gets broken down to glucose.
You
Yeah.
have to clean out all your cupboards, which I did the whole thing.
Well,
And it's tough, but I keep falling off the wagon. I want to stay on the wagon for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
But those are my 3 things for today that I wanted to work on.
well, one thing is to start communicating with the body and be like, well,
Yeah.
what things do you like that we could eat that aren't going to be so sugarful? But then the other thing is, well, let me disclaimer, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not claiming to treat, diagnose, or cure any disease, right? But one of the symptoms, one thing that when you have like insatiable sugar cravings, sometimes that can be a sign of candida or something like that going on in the gut.
Okay, yeah.
So like, of course, talk to your medical doctor about stuff like that. But one of the things that you
Consult
could
your medical doctor.
that you could, after talking to your medical doctor, consider doing is like a probiotic combined with an antifungal. A couple of things. I'm an aromatherapist too, so you could use like something like Vergonia, which is from a bush in New Zealand. That it's very antifungal, and you can put in a carrier cream and just rub it into abdomen, which is really specifically good for candida and things like that. And then also just the proper colonization of the intestinal tract with a good probiotic, like A.M. Haemophilus is one in particular that I'm fond of because it's a different formula for the morning and for the night. And you also want to change things like that up because if you stay on the same probiotic
Yeah.
indefinitely,
Yeah.
then
It
you don't get
just
as much
doesn't
benefit.
work.
So you're like, you go on 2 weeks, off 2 weeks, change up
Oh,
probiotics,
yeah.
on 2 weeks, off 2 weeks,
Yeah.
get a
And
good
then
colonization.
the idea with addiction, sometimes it depends, what it is, but sometimes it's like, what are you trying to run away from with your addiction, right? Rather than engaging with it.
Unhealthiness, like I want to be healthy in the next 50 years.
But like, instead of just choosing to be healthy, not eating sugar, it's like, so what about being healthy are you trying to refuse or not be? Like, could be something, maybe you bought this idea that I have to be sick or have something wrong with me, right? And maybe that's really the underlying reason that you have this craving to eat sugar, right? It has nothing to do with
Yeah.
sugar, but it's something psychologically or something you've bought.
And to be in the
Um,
question, you could just ask,
yeah.
what could I be, what could my body, being and beyond be to have change and different possibility here?
Yeah.
And just stay in that question. Because when you ask a question like that, I can't explain how it happens, but you will just notice things and you'll know that that matches the energy of that.
Yeah, and acknowledge when something matches the energy that you just asked for. Do it.
Yeah, and then how does it get any better than this? Or does your body need sugar and you want to deprive it of sugar so much that when it finally, like it's like, I need sugar, and then like you
Yeah.
break down, like maybe it's just something that if you were to do it in moderation, if that's possible, the body would be happy.
Throughout the day.
happier.
It's like when you have the drink of water and it's like, this is the best drink of water I've ever tasted. It's like, okay, maybe you're a bit dehydrated. Like, maybe you could have gotten some water.
Well, and we ignore the
before.
body. The body and the being are two different things. The body is the Waldo. The being is controlling the puppet, in
Yeah.
a sense. But they're two separate things. And like when I first started talking to my body, like I went vegan overnight. And I had no intention of ever being a vegan.
Wow.
And just one day it's just like, okay, body, what would you like? And it's like, not that. Just like that, I was instantly vegan overnight. And now I'm starting to reintroduce a few things. And I think I was just so out of whack from
Yeah.
eating so not how my body wanted to eat, that I needed like a 2-year detox period just to get back to baseline.
Yeah.
And so
Are
start.
you still vegan?
I am.
Yeah.
Like
For how many years?
2 years now.
Well, the cool thing is you keep asking.
I
If
do
the
keep
body would
asking.
still like to stay
and,
on the
and I tell
with the vegan
I give the
kind of
example,
foods.
if tomorrow my body's like, hey, but dude, I need a steak, I'm gonna eat a steak. So I'm
You haven't
honoring.
had a steak in 2 years.
I've had no animal products other than honey.
steak and animal product.
Steak is an animal product.
I thought
yes.
I thought you killed vampires with those though.
Well,
Do
that
you
too.
eat the veggie burgers and all that?
Sometimes, like black bean burgers or something,
Yeah.
like the Impossible Burger I stay away from because I can't
I've
explain
heard
it,
there
but
was
I feel my molecules being weird when I eat that. But the Beyond one is okay for me. So sometimes I do that. But if you look at the nutritional stuff, it's not that much, it's not that great for you either if you buy into the idea of nutrition. So I just really stay in the question, like, what does my body want? And like one time, it was like, I just need pineapple and pistachios. I don't know why, but I like downed a whole pineapple and a bag of pistachios. And that's what my body required. And I was just in the question.
That's a good thing
Well,
too with pineapple that you bring up with sugar.
that's
So
all
I found, you know,
natural.
there is some better sugars for your body, like
Yeah.
fruit sugar or honey. Tends to be a little better than the sugar you'll get from like a
Oh, cool.
Coca-Cola or candy bars. So like, if your body does really, you get this sugar craving, it's like, look at what you're choosing for the sugar too, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little easier, and maybe you'll see a
Good sugar.
change, you know, keep asking and
Yeah.
seeing what works, but it could be that just maybe you need to choose a different source of the sugar,
Yeah.
instead of your usual go-tos, and that it needs to be maybe
Ooh.
more fruits or something.
Another fun possibility, because you're an infinite being, there's nothing that you can't do, right?
Right.
So before you're gonna,
Nothing.
if you're like, well, I'm gonna eat this ice cream because I'm just, I'm
I
gonna, I'm
always
gonna,
go one more time.
right. Well, as a former professional drinker, I totally get that because I had a million last drinks until I actually had
And you're a
my last
humanoid,
drink.
so
And I'm a
it's like,
humanoid.
it's just one more.
But-
And then you have to prove yourself wrong.
But everything
and
has
not do
this
one more.
this animating
Or do one
essence
more.
to it. Like we're all in this place, and you can actually be just in this last 4 days. There was like this big workshop, and there was like 1,000 people there, and they were in very uncomfortable chairs. And the leader of the workshop said, "Well, you just ask the molecules of the chairs to change so that it will be more comfortable for you to sit in." And he did the whole thing for the whole group, and everybody's like, "Wow!" They made them feel more comfortable. So if you're
I
going to
should do
be,
that right now.
yeah.
Like
So
a
if you're
chair.
if you're
Should
going
be
to
Nice cushy
Should be-
one.
If
Well,
you're gonna
you
be
know,
eating
I'm
it.
saying that, but you know, it's a little uncomfortable for my
right,
butt.
so ask the molecules in the chair to mold and
That's
sculpt
so
your
cool.
behind,
What
right?
molecules in my behind could, you know?
Right. But if you're going to eat something, like before you eat it, kind of like the same idea when people would reiki their food, but what you're actually doing is opening up your allowance to be in communion with the molecules of the food to say, hey,
Molecules.
rearrange yourself so that when I eat you, it's going to be a great contribution to my body, the greatest contribution.
That's awesome.
And so why not? They're an infinite
Yeah.
being. You can ask for anything. You can
Anything.
demand anything. Actually, I'm more of a fan of demanding
Well, fun
of the universe.
fact. Demander is the French verb for to ask. Demander.
Uh-huh.
Like demand, or-
Like,
I like that.
demand. You're asking.
See, I'm more of the kind of, I say you declare your
See,
will
we
into
cover
the universe.
everything. Etymology, you know, we got it
Yeah,
all here.
aromatherapy, we got it all. But like if you're with the universe, it's like you declare your will into the universe. The universe's job is to change, like
Yeah.
to do whatever you put out there.
Yeah.
The problem is we change our minds every 10 seconds.
Yeah.
This is what I choose. This is what I choose.
Yeah.
Oh wait, this is what I choose. And
Yeah,
by the time you
that's-
get to this one, the universe was just starting to get this one. Oh wait, you changed your mind.
Yeah.
And we don't even give the universe a chance to catch
Yeah.
up. So be consistent with your choice is like a huge thing. And also, it's not just an ask. It's not like, please, Dad, can I have some chocolate? You can ask my kids. The second they ask for chocolate, I'm like, no. My oldest son came up to me, Daddy, can I have some chocolate? No. Oliver has chocolate. Oliver didn't ask. He's like, oh, I get it. And he just goes and gets chocolate. The answer can't be no if you don't ask. You're demanding to the universe. You're declaring your will, and the universe only knows to bring
You
it.
never use the word manifest.
I don't
Is
use the
that-
word manifest.
Yeah, no.
Actualization,
We talked about
Okay.
words. We talked about want.
right?
Manifest. I don't know if it's a don't use word, but it maybe doesn't mean
Well-
what you think it means.
Well, there's a difference between manifestation and actualization.
They're different.
Actualization is that something shows up. Manifestation is how it shows up. And so if you tell the universe, hey, universe,
I'd like
I
to
am
manifest this."
demanding abundance, but the only way I'm willing to accept abundance in the thing I call my paycheck and the way they call a raise. So now you took the infinite possibilities of the universe to deliver you abundance and you handcuffed it because you're only willing to receive it this way, one way. And that changes, everything.
Yeah. Like
So
when you manifest something, you're saying, I'd like how that shows up now, please. And that just doesn't sound very good grammatically, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense energetically. When you say, I'd like to actualize this, please, it's like, okay, it could show up any way. I'm not vested in how it shows up. I would just like it to show up.
Right. And that's the willingness to have it show up in any way. Like, it doesn't mean that it's going to show up in a way that you don't prefer, but like my experience is, as soon as you really put it out that this is, you're choosing it, it shows up in the most
Yeah.
grand ways that you never imagined possible.
Yeah.
And that's why I also like to add, how could this show up in my life instantly with ease?
Yeah.
With
Like when
ease.
I went to see Tim, I went to see him last week and in Willoughby, and he says, get a chair next to you and invite Spirit and ask Spirit to help you with your house. But he said, watch what happens in 2 weeks.
Right.
Whatever that means. About a half a week, you know, a few days now, but I have this really great idea, and I'm like, where did that come from? Where did that idea
Thank
come
you,
from?
universe, for giving me this great
Inspiration.
idea.
But
Doesn't matter where it came
it's
from?
huge. It's like really big. Like I don't
Cool.
even know if I'm able to make this happen.
Ooh, so what energy, space, consciousness, choice can my body, being, and beyond to actualize that vision with total ease?
Yeah.
And everything that doesn't allow that, I'm willing to change it.
Yeah. You probably couldn't choose that.
And then run
either.
that milk.
That'd be too cool. It'd be too grand.
Oh,
you
he's-
couldn't do it.
He's humanoiding you right now.
I just like I always wonder where these is there spirit putting these in my head? Where does it come from?
Well, what if it's coming from you because you're an infinite being, have infinite knowing, infinite
Mhm.
ability to perceive, know, and receive, and
Yeah.
you're
I
just
never took the
finally
credit for it. I was
stepping.
Like, who put that there?
Yeah, you're finally
Yeah.
stepping into your capacity as an infinite being.
We kind of jumped past it, but and then you're really touching on that being congruent with your ask, right?
Yeah.
Like if you'd like to change it, you know, it's not just you got to be willing to actually.
Right. When you do,
Change
you
it.
do what if you asked a question, how could I create more abundance with ease? And all of a sudden you're seeing this place is hiring, right? And it shines to
Yeah,
you.
that's what
It's
I
like,
mean.
well, why aren't you like? But you don't
Go.
apply,
Right.
you know. But then even if
Because
you
that
do,
place is kind of weird. I don't
You
really
have
know
to
what's going
start
on over
when you
there.
see it.
Yeah, I
But-
kind of like it on this side of the street.
but the
thank
thing is,
you.
you got to stay in the question because okay, so that place shined to you, but now what if you go down the street? Now this place shines to you. Oh,
Yeah.
but I already applied there. No, apply there too. Like you follow the
Yeah.
energy,
Yeah.
and then you never know. Now they have a bidding war because they all want you, and now they keep bidding.
And
Oh, now I'm
you've
going to
earned
give a sign
20%
bonus.
more than you would have otherwise.
Right.
It's like-
So it's always asking when the universe delivers to you the answer to your question. You say, "How does it get any better than this? How would I create even more possibility?"
Right.
Do we get to do the? You know, it probably won't show up the way you think it will.
You can do that. You never know. Well, that's
Yeah.
the thing. Being willing to have it show up in
Yeah.
any way that makes
Yeah.
it.
Usually, when the universe gives you something, it never really comes the way you think it would,
Mhm.
because the universe is pretty dynamic,
Mhm.
more than our brains are most of the time. So, like, when you ask for money, universe is like, "Oh, we have money everywhere. Here you go." Blah 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 blah, and it's like, okay, it might just start showing up down the road, down the street, walking down, and somebody's like, "Hey, can you do this thing for me?" And you're like, "I had no idea that this person was going to show up and ask if I could do this service that I happen to be having a skill set for, and they're going to pay me a lot of money to do it." Cool, but like, you may have never thought of that. Maybe that was because like you turned a different way on your walk, right? And you don't know why, but you did, and it's like,
Well, look at
You
just
know.
9/11 would be a good example that you could, if you look up the news stories and everything, that building, for as full as it would normally be at that time,
Yeah.
had a fraction of the people in it.
Yeah, it's
So
like-
what were people aware of that they were just being an allowance of and being like just acting on? So once you ask the question, if you follow your awareness, and all of a sudden things just line up.
yeah,
Even if it doesn't make sense. And I use the example of yellow flowers. Like if you ask a question for work and you are at Trader Joe's and these yellow flowers, you just know that, hey, these flowers, I need to buy them. It matches the energy. Might make no sense at all.
buy the
Yeah.
flowers.
Buy the flowers. You buy the flowers, you do whatever.
When you fill an instruction, come. You
But it's,
follow.
you just know it matches the energy. And it just kind of like you just notice it. Sometimes I see it like it shines or whatever.
Sure.
And I give the yellow flower example because I had an experience when I worked for Bank of America, one of my colleagues. They came to me and their grandpa was very ill and he had dementia and Alzheimer's and he's like not lucid a lot. And she was basically asking me, I just wish I had one more day where I could really talk to my grandpa. And so I asked the question, what would create that possibility? And I got yellow flowers, which made no sense at all. I'm like, I don't know, you should buy him some yellow flowers though. So she goes and she buys the yellow flowers, she takes it to him, and that day he like came to life and he had like a whole lucid day. And so like whatever that was, maybe it was an anchor, maybe it was just her willingness to do it, and that opened up the possibility.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how or where it came from. You ask the question, you follow the energy.
Is it
That's
really
cool.
that simple?
It's really that simple. All you got to do is ask and choose. Ask the question.
Ask and choose.
Ask and choose. Ask and choose.
Bye bye.
Ask,
We won't see you again next month.
choose,
That's all you need.
Receive. Yeah, next month we will just sit there and we will repeat over and over again. Ask, choose, receive, repeat.
We're actually just gonna put it on the wall up here.
Actually,
That's just gonna tell you how to do it.
that's a meme. Ask, choose, receive, repeat. We can do that as a meme. But Paco? This is Paco, by the way, our little mascot for possibility.
Yeah, what's the story behind Paco?
He just looked cool. I followed the energy.
Here she's
Oh, yeah.
Paco.
Like the yellow flower.
Was that good, Hank?
Yep,
Am I on
that's
it?
that's good. You're right on it. Yeah.
So little Paco, he's got his little googly eyes and his mouth, and he's like, ah, ah,
Oh gosh.
ah.
But I hope everybody that's watching and you get the idea too that this kind of work does not have to be serious. You can have a ton of fun, and in fact, I feel that actually creates more
Yeah.
possibility when you're
Yeah.
having fun with it, and we're not going up here going, oh my gosh.
All right, today, folks, we're going to be talking about possibilities. Now, on the first day, there was possibility.
Yeah, and if you don't agree with something that we say, you should leave now.
And after 7 weeks of very arduous following our manual, you will have more possibility.
Right, and also you has to pay us $1,000. No.
And it'll be $1,000.
Yeah.
So what?
So, yeah, no. Have fun. Be fun.
All right,
our
final
goal.
question. Well,
Target.
any other questions?
Yeah.
We're right around 8:07. If you guys, my computer died.
Right
so I
around
can't-
8:07, might be 8:06,
I-
might be 8:08. We're not really sure.
Yeah,
8:08
somewhere. My laptop was dying,
Yeah.
so if you made a question, I'm trying to catch comments as they come up, but I won't see. Ooh, I appreciate this so much. You're welcome. You're welcome. That's my cheerleader.
We'll be here next month.
Yeah, we're going to do this once a month and possibly add it to twice a month as things go. And if you're watching online, the way that it works is if you're here in person, like the idea is that we're going to be interacting with the people here, not so much online. This was like a first time thing. But we're always going to stream them, and that's free. Being here in person, it's $5
online.
to come as a contribution for the space. And then eventually, we will have an online option where you can zoom in and ask your question. We'll have the laptop here, and everybody will see you. No,
Because we
we
didn't
won't.
get your chat messages today.
Right. Well, no, but that's the idea. Oh, she says, this was fun. Thank you. You're welcome, Connie.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
for tuning in. And eventually, I might stream it here too, but we are going to be putting it, we have a new YouTube channel on our Power of Possibility YouTube channel that we're going to
Yeah.
that's where we're going to archive everything.
Yeah.
So if you miss any of them, everything's going to be there. But I kind of like putting it on my Facebook too, so we might continue to do that.
We might do both. We might do more than both. We might do
might
some
do
other
them all.
possibility.
Yes. So, any final question? No?
That's it for me today.
Any final saying? Any final thought?
You know, it feels like, we should have like an outro.
An outro? Well,
Yeah.
we once we have people for that, we'll make
Yeah.
an outro.
It
It could be like Paco like dissolving into the distance or something.
No, just thanks everybody
That
for joining
outro.
us.
Obviously, I don't know what an outro is because I didn't know that's all it was. I thought it was like some sort of graphic you put at the end of the video with like stuff.
No, I thought, just something we say like, we wave.
Okay.
We got the power.
Oh, she says, I'm no longer using the word manifest. I'm actualizing this. Love it, love it, love it. Yes. Actualize. That's awesome. Because that really, like, the universe understands energy, and the more, and there's a difference. Sometimes you just used the wrong word, but you did have the right energy behind the word, and other
Yeah.
times we're just in the energy of the wrong word.
Yeah, it's not hard and fast, and
Yeah, so don't judge yourself if you use the wrong
Yeah.
word and go, I'm a bad person, I suck at this. No, just give yourself, I used a different word, let's go ahead and choose.
and just
a different
acknowledge.
energy.
It's
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah,
Growth.
yeah, I'll choose to use acknowledge. I'm going to
Acknowledge
acknowledge that I'm actualizing.
Yes, be an allowance of actualizing, actually. Try
That's
that,
just-
saying that
that's
10
just
times
AAA.
fast. Being an allowance of actualizing, actually. Okay, on that note, we probably should go
Yeah.
because we're getting brain fried now.
Yeah.
But thank you for being here, and thank you all for watching. Please tune in next second Tuesday of the month.
Second Tuesday. So we'll see you next month, everybody.
Bye-bye, everyone.